But the good thing is we've got Rob alongside and Ben Duckett. Ben, thank you very much for joining us. Firstly, how are you doing and how are the team doing?
Yeah, very well. I think this summer the 4-day stuff's gone really well for us, which has been a positive. The 1-day stuff at the start of the summer didn't go to plan really, but started okay in this competition with 1 win, 1 loss. And I think we're going to struggle to get out there tonight.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we're feeling pretty good.
A great competition for you guys in recent past. Of course, won it last year. Is there a slight sort of feeling that perhaps you need to go one better and perhaps improve slightly even more to try and stay ahead of the pack?
Yeah, I think 2020 cricket each year is getting better and better, and I think everyone's improving. And I think as a squad, so are we. And to win another T20 competition, we're going to have to play extremely well throughout the whole competition. So. I definitely think we've got the squad of players to do it, so yeah, it should be exciting.
I always used to feel that the summer sort of meanders along with 4-day cricket and the 50-over cricket, and then all of a sudden T20 comes along and it's just everything's on and it's just a much more intense game than it ever has been.
Yeah, I agree, and as soon as you get to the ground, it's completely different. I mean, T20, everyone's rushing around and
ball goes higher and everything.
Completely different to the 4-day stuff, but it's exciting.
Yeah,
it should be a good month.
How are you doing? How's the form?
Yeah, pretty good. For the whole summer, I felt fairly good, and I think at the start of the year we played on some interesting and wickets. Definitely here we had we had a couple of 2-day finishes, and it was quite hard to go on and get the big scores. But the last couple of weeks, I've managed to find some form and get some runs.
Yeah, you got 200s in the last 2 championship games.
Yeah, and we had the pink ball, which was different.
Yeah, what was that like?
Yeah, it's very different, playing in the daytime compared to when the lights come on. And I actually got the 100 in the daytime and got 0 in the evening.
So was it doing a little bit more?
It did do a little bit more.
Because they say that that's the case, but it was the case, was it?
It was, and we batted first, and actually I just went out and sort of, after scoring a few low ones, played with freedom. Different ball, different. It just felt a little bit different, and I went with a bit of freedom and got off to a little bit of a fire, and it actually felt like a bit of a 1-day game. They had fielders out for me and I could just, get off strike. And I think as soon as the ball got a little bit older, it just stopped doing much. And yeah, it was good to get some runs.
Do you see then tactically that people might declare just so you have to bat in that twilight period or under the lights?
I think if you played it more throughout the summer, I think that would definitely happen. Obviously, the one game, I think people, I played in the Abu Dhabi one, so I knew what it was going to be like. I think it was a bit different out there. It does get darker earlier. But I think if you did start to play more games, I think there would be a bit more tactical, and you would just be 200 and then you declare and try and get.
Really?
I think that would come into play. Yeah.
Interesting. There, you said you played with freedom, and it sort of perhaps helped you a little bit. Is that the way forward for you, just to sort of have that attitude about your game?
I think so, because I started off as an opener. I was batting middle order, and just Rip said to me, go and open, go and play your game. And I don't know, at times, people will look at me and go, he might not have the technique to be an opener, but I feel like that was a game where I said to Wakers, came out to me and I said, look, I'm just going to play my game. I'll play how I did last year. Was just aggressive against the new ball, got off to a flyer, as I say, and they suddenly had fielders out for me. One slip and a deep cover and a deep square, and I could just get off strike and get down the other end. And I do think at times maybe this summer on some green wickets, I've maybe gone into my shell a little bit and not played my natural game. And I think everyone's different. Some people dig in and face 300 balls for 100. I think the way I'm going to, if, in any situation, if I'm batting for the draw or anything, the way that I'm going to bat a day or 2 days is being aggressive.
So why do you think you went back into your shell? Is that because you had a winter where perhaps you became having to be aware of technical things and perhaps thinking about changing a game, or not?
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, I've played in the subcontinental winter on slow wickets, and I think technique changed slightly. A lot more bottom hand, and you've got to force the ball against seam, and a lot of 1-day cricket just leading up to the 4-day stuff. And then I came back, and it was straight into the first game on a green seaming wicket, which isn't ideal. I didn't really have too much prep for it, but I didn't really want to look into it too much, because 2 out of the first 3 I think finished in 2 days, and I think I got a 50 and a 40 in those games and felt good. Just wasn't going on to get the big score, and it was not to put too much pressure on myself after the winter I've had and the summer I had last year, and just trying to wait and be patient, and hopefully that would change.
You mentioned the summer that you had last year. It must have been amazing for you. PCA Player of the Year, 1,500 plus championship runs, call up for England. I mean, what was that like for you?
Yeah, it was a crazy summer. obviously it'll be one I think I'll look back on for the rest of my career and going on. And I think I've just got to, always think about what I did well, and that's what I'm trying to do at the moment, and it's just being positive.
I mean, how did you sort of deal with it? Because perhaps definitely Northants fans will have been aware of Ben Duckett for quite some time coming through the system, but for those not aware, you kind of burst onto the scene, had such a dramatic season and then played for England. I mean, what was that turnaround like?
Yeah, for me last year I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the pressure. I enjoyed, these games on TV, finals day as you had. I really enjoyed the pressure on me and just try and score runs, and I loved it, because if I did score runs and I got my side in a winning position, and we had success last year, and winning finals day really meant a lot.
Absolutely.
Because I've been to a couple of finals days and not really contributed like I wanted to, and I said that before that day. So it was nice in the semi-final to go on and get a match-winning performance.
I remember speaking to you, actually doing an interview with you on the morning of finals day, and I remember walking away thinking how relaxed you were, in the interview, and how you were generally about the day ahead. It's obviously just the way that you are.
Yeah, I think so. And at times, even in the winter when I was struggling, I think when I go out into the middle, I'm just trying to forget about everything that's happening on the outside, and I just try and enjoy it. And I think when I am playing freely and I'm at my best, I think it shows.
Yeah.
It's interesting, actually, because you talk about your technique for an opener. I watched that. I know that's T20. For me, you always struck me as someone who just had a very simple technique, which is perfect as an opener, really. And you just got to keep that mentality going, as you say, in a positive mind. But you are allowed to find it hard work when you get on green pitches. But that's just the job of being an opener, isn't it? It's the toughest place to bat.
I agree, and
we're all a bit biased here, I think, aren't we? Slightly.
Yeah, I think so. And you're going to get good balls. And to be honest, at the start of the summer, I wasn't really playing bad shots. I was actually getting fairly good balls, and I was, thinking, why have I nicked that? And it was just trying not to overthink it. And as you say, as an opening on a flat one, you can get a good ball with a new ball, or on a green one. I think it's just, when you do get in, like last couple of weeks, it's been really nice to score some runs. But last year those were big runs, and I think I can still. I've got 100 out twice, and last year I really spoke about when I did get 100, try and start again and go big and try and get big hundreds or big double hundreds.
But you must feel better from coming through a tough period and coming out the other side. That then gives you confidence the rest of your career. Is that fair?
Yeah, and it was a couple of weeks ago here against Leicester, it was more of a relief.
Yeah.
Just to get that off my back, and I think that when I did that, the next game going into Beckenham, again I played with freedom, and hopefully from now on I can I don't have that pressure on missing that that 100 which I didn't score for a little while. So I've got that, and I can as you say, play with freedom and just play my natural game.
How many hundreds you got against Kent now? Nearly every time, isn't it?
I do like playing Kent.
You're one of the most irritating batsmen. You just carved everything through backward point. I didn't know what to do. I think it must be one of your first hundreds.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, that was at Canterbury, wasn't it?
Yeah, well played.
You can set the field, for the cut.
Well, I know, but the bowlers just kept bowling, and he just kept on just carving it through there. And I said, after a while, I sort of looked up and thought, hang up, this little fella's on about 80 at the minute here, and I don't know what we've done wrong. I remember saying to Nasser last year, he said, give me a name, give me someone that we haven't heard of. I tell you, can play this Ben Duckett, and sure enough, he had a brilliant year last year. And I think actually you become a better player when you have a tough time. It's the ones that don't have that tough period, and then later on in their career it comes and you struggle to come out of it. So to go through that early is a good thing.
Rob talks about having a tough time. How did you cope with your winter with England? How do you reflect on that?
I think looking back, it was obviously very tough. I mean, the positive was playing for my country, which I'll always look back on, that I've played for England, and obviously the technical problems I had were.
What we're seeing here against the off spin.
Yeah, and looking back at it, obviously frustrating to look at, but you don't really get those challenges in England. There's not too many wickets that really do that, and it is something that I've been working on since, and played Worcester here, and they had Nathan Lyon, and felt like I was getting in much better positions.
Yeah.
And I think obviously that was a technical problem that I did have, and now I wouldn't say I've completely mastered it, but I'm definitely in a much better position to face that.
What was that like, to feel under the scrutiny, if you like, of the media, the way you were playing, getting out the same way time and time again? I mean, how did you kind of deal with that away from the game?
I mean, I remember I spent hours with ramps in the nets, just throwing me off spinners, and it's it's quite easy doing that in the nets when you're facing, you know, someone bowling throwdowns. But then when you go and face one of the best bowlers in the world in his conditions, it was really hard because it wasn't something that I've had before, and you know, especially mid-series, I had to sort of change my technique to try and score runs against India in their home conditions. Like, you know, when I was batting the next day, and it was hard, and I tried my hardest, and it just wasn't something that came very natural to me.
Do you think county cricket in any way can prepare you for that, for Ashby? It wasn't just the conditions. You talk about the best spinner in world cricket at the minute. Is there any way that county cricket can prepare the next whoever it is who's going to come in there, whether it's you again, you're out in India batting against that?
I think it's hard. I mean, the only way you can do it is if your counties send players to go and play in those countries. Or
which they do anyway. The Lions would do that, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
It just seems that it's such a tough test to come up against. You don't have those overseas players in county cricket as much as what, when we played, we'd have people like Murali and Shane Warne playing all the time. That doesn't happen anymore. It's a really tough environment to go into.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because Ben's saying he would have played in that way and had a lot of success. How many championship runs did you get last year?
1,300.
1,300. You scored runs for fun, playing off spin in the way that we've just seen Ashwin getting you out. So it must be quite tough to suddenly think, crikey, I didn't realise I had that weakness, if you like. I didn't realise that I was going to get exposed like that.
Yeah, it was. And I mean, going into that, I believed I was a good player of spin.
Absolutely,
I was really looking forward to it.
There's no doubt you are a good player.
And I didn't know that I had that problem.
Yeah.
So when it did happen, it was a little bit of a shock. And you know, it was just trying to work on it mid-series, mid-game to try and change it. But I think, you know, I wouldn't have necessarily known that for a couple of years if I hadn't have gone and done it. So now I know I have got that. So it's just, you know, trying to get in a better position now.
I don't want to be facetious here, but there might be people listening saying, yeah, but if you were playing in Division 1, you would face more quality off-spin more regularly, and that might have made it perhaps a little bit of a smaller gap, if you like, when you go on and play international cricket. I mean, what would your answer be to that?
I mean, it might be true. I mean, you also play on better wickets in Div 1.
Yeah.
I know some of them might turn a bit, but I still don't think their wickets anywhere near like they are there. I mean, I played Treadwell the last couple of years, and you know, I think he's a very clever off spinner, and I felt fairly comfortable against him. But it just wasn't one of those issues that I really thought I had. But I don't think necessarily in Div 1 people are pitching it outside leg and hitting top of off. But I mean, obviously there are some good off spinners in Div 1, so I would understand that.
Yeah.
But I think that's the same with left arm seamers or right arm seamers. It's, you know. But
I'm not going to go down that route. What about now? Are you in communication with the selectors? Have they been talking to you about perhaps what you need to work on and how you're going to progress as a player?
It was a tough one because obviously when we all came home, they were going back out a couple of weeks later for the one-day stuff. So the coaches, you know, have been pretty busy since then. I spoke a little bit when I was there. I mean, it was a long time ago now, but they just said, you know, just keep playing your game. Obviously keep in touch with a few of the players now, but all I need to do is, you know, start again, do what I did last summer, and just try and enjoy it and put no pressure on myself, and just to try and enjoy cricket and try and score runs again and keep knocking on the door.
He's a good player, isn't he?
Yeah, I think one-day cricket as well, you could argue you're very unlucky, really, because you came in, obviously, because Owen Morgan didn't go to Bangladesh, the same with Alex Hales, and scored run, played some match-winning innings out in Bangladesh, and then they came back, which was fair enough, I think, actually, because you know, Owen Morgan has shown what a good captain, what a good player he is. So I don't think you've done anything wrong in that regard at all. And I always feel young players, when they, without sounding patronising, will always go through a tough period. And in a way, even when it's sort of playing county, I say play the young players. But even if they don't do well, that will bring them one step closer sooner to having a really good time of it. You have to go through. Ponting, all of them did. Some of the greatest players all went through tough periods, and they come out the other end much better players. And I think Ben will be exactly that, actually.
We're nearly done. What would you be doing in the dressing room now if you weren't talking to us? Are you a reader of a book, or are you a coffee drinker? What
is there any cricketer who's a reader of a book?
Yes, there are, Rob. Not you.
I wouldn't be reading a
book.
Not
those sorts of books.
What's the point? They're all films these days. I mean, come on.
We've got a darts board, but
really,
it's pretty boring. You know, we're desperate. I'm pretty sure we're not getting out there, but we'd be desperate to get out. I think we're playing up darts, bit of cards. Yeah.
So you don't think it's not looking great?
I think we're struggling.
Which is a shame for you because you won your last game, you lost your first game. Getting on a bit of a roll would have been good for you, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely. But it's still early in the competition, so I think the last couple of years we've got on a roll at the right time towards the back end.
Yeah.
You know, you can lose a couple early on, but it would have been really nice to play Yorkshire, a good side on TV, and you know, show what we can do. But
Okay.
I mean, hopefully next week. Or
Well, hopefully today. You never know.
Yeah, hopefully
it's
today.
a little bit brighter, but it's still drizzling. Thanks ever so much for coming
Thank
to join
you.
us. Really good luck for the rest of the season. Hope you get back in that England side.